baby. We are talking, Kelven and I are here, as usual, talking about analytics, Sabermetrics, whatever you want to call it, today. And I'm going to start with a rant by our good friend Colin Cowherd. On today's episode of his show, he said, he was talking about the divisional or the championship weekend, and he said the Patriots defense is underrated compared to the other teams, and he decided to look at everything since week 5.
Of course.
And to me, you can't do that. You can't just not count for the games.
The first 1/4 of the season.
Yeah, you can't just not do that.
When they gave up 300-yard passers in every single one of those games. I think they gave up 300-yard passes in like the first 6 weeks of the season.
Yeah. So, yeah. He's like, don't count them out because everybody's looking at Brady, but their defense is really good too. And I was like,
no, their defense is terrible.
Yeah.
They have no pass rusher, they have no linebacker help, and they don't have great cornerback play.
Yeah. But, so, I don't know.
They're going to be trash next year without Patricia, too. So, like, since he's little, like, he's going to go to...
They're saying the Lions.
Detroit, yeah, Detroit.
And,
McDaniels is gone, too. But McDaniels...
Either the Colts or the Titans.
Yeah.
That's why the Titans fired.
But, okay, like, here's the thing.
Well, yeah.
McDaniels hasn't done anything. McDaniels hasn't done anything. Like, they could just, like, it's like more Tom Brady. He didn't, like, make that offense any better. I mean, it's still been performing well. Yeah, exactly. That's how he got the first head coaching job with the Broncos.
Yeah. Anyway, so stats, like I said, I just want to start off by saying that kind of bugs me when you take a chunk out of a season.
Yeah.
Especially football because it's so short.
Yeah.
You know, like, they do it all the time in baseball, and it's such a long season, but I'm still like, okay, you did well for a week.
Yeah.
Or you went to somewhere, like the Dodgers lost, 10 or 12 straight this season.
Yeah,
Like, okay, you had one bad stretch.
Yeah.
Like,
it's not indicative of the entire season unless you're continually bad.
And the reverse is true, too. If you're bad but have a good stretch,
yeah.
Like, okay, well, look at the whole thing.
Yeah.
We'll just look at this little bit. I remember, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago, it was Carlos Gonzalez on the Rockies.
Mm-hmm.
They were like, he should be MVP because he had such a good September. I was like, yeah, but he was horrible until August. You can't just ignore that.
Yeah.
So.
And it also doesn't, like, you know, on top of that, like, he plays in the Rocky Stadium too, so like it's easier to, like, your slugging percentage is going to be up.
Yeah, like I could hit 20 home runs in 162 games. Like, probably not, but
get hit a few though, you know.
Yeah. So we're talking about analytics, how well it plays after that short little rant. If there's anything to it, if they can go to the level as they do in baseball and other sports. I know baseball. We were talking in our pre-production meeting, that whole 30-second meeting, about how deep they get and how some stats just don't seem like actual stats.
Yeah.
You know, the digger you go at one point, are you just like, okay, like this actually doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like, if you're comparing an NL West pitcher to pitching in Fenway Park in the AL East, like, well, when he plays here, like, how many times is he going to play there that it affects you, like, signing over trading?
Yeah.
It's just, some of these, like we were saying, like some of these stats are just...
It's just way too much. Yeah. Like, it's not simple things either. It's like, it's not just as much as like, it's like hitting, like, walks, like strikeouts to walks percentage and things like that, like your batting average. Like, I can kind of understand WAR, the wins against replacement or something like that. Even that's kind of like
even
iffy.
That, I don't know, one, how you measure a win.
Yeah.
And two, I used to think it was just the minor league replacement that they had, but apparently it's the average player. I'm like, well, what are you comparing that's average?
Yeah.
Like, if you look at, like, the NL third baseman, there's so many of them that are good. What's average then? And how are you predicting how many more wins you can get?
Yeah.
Like, obviously, Mike Trout over somebody, yes, he can get you more wins. Right. But, like, I don't know the formula behind it.
Just like winning plays is like not calling, like not allowing an error, or like something like that, or like you like more big time hits, like slugging percentage is high, things like that. Do they take all the other stats into account when it comes to like the WAR, I guess?
Yeah, like I have no idea how. It's just like I think there's some merit to it. Because sometimes you look, okay, like, this guy walks a lot, maybe place him in this part of the lineup. Yeah. Like, there's some justification behind it. I just think, like, at a certain point, you gotta be like, okay, like, this needs to stop.
Making up more
You can't
stats.
look at just stats, you know. Like, I remember there was, they were interviewing coaches when Sabermetrics were becoming, like, a huge thing. Like, Moneyball came out, and they were talking about all that stuff. And Buck Showalter was interviewing. He said during spring training, they wanted to move a first baseman to left field. And he said he can't play left field. And they're like, well, his numbers show, like, he's good enough to be in the lineup, and he can probably play left field. Like, and he's like, no, he doesn't have the legs to play outfield. And he missed every foul ball that was hit at him in spring training. And Buck was like, I told you. Like, like, I could look at this guy and tell you he's not an outfielder. Yeah. So it's kind of like...
Yeah, and that's tough, too. I mean, and you know, and that's why people are looking, I guess that's why they're looking more for versatility. I mean, that's why you go get Ohtani.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I mean, you can put him in the lineup all the time, you know? And that's what intrigues a lot of people. I mean, he can pitch, he can play in the outfield, he can hit, like, you know, I mean, that's what people want, and you know, and that's brought. I think that's a big proponent of like what like Sabermetrics really brought to the game of baseball. It's like people want to have the most versatile 9 out there, just so you can, you know, advance your roster and play the 9 best people at all times. But it makes sense. I mean, I think Maddox does that a lot. I could be wrong. I have no idea. No, I don't know. The manager for the Cubs.
Oh,
Madden.
Yeah, Madden. I was like, Greg Madden.
Yeah. Like I feel like he does that a lot of a lot of different lineup changes and things like that.
He's one of the few that does. Tony La Russa used to do it too. Pitcher in the 8 hole, so you have the speedy guy in the 9 hole.
Right.
So you don't. It's not like you're guaranteed out. And you have a guy in the bottom to get you on base and stuff. So then, like obviously it worked out for Madden.
Yeah. I mean, he's won a few different a couple World Series. So
yeah, and he made it to the playoffs every year with the Cubs. I forget if they made it this year or not.
No, they made it this year.
They did.
Yeah, they lost to the Dodgers. In the championship series. Yeah, because they beat the Nationals.
As always.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it seems like it. Yeah, I mean, and he did it with the Rays too, of all teams.
Yeah, where there's like the fan base isn't there. I mean, honestly,
and they have like the lowest salaries in baseball, and so it does work. Like, I mean, it worked for the A's in the early 2000s,
and I think
like, they made it to the playoffs.
Yeah, and I think it's shown a track record of working more so in baseball compared to other sports. I mean, if you look at the experiment that the Browns did with their full analytics department and hiring Sashi Brown, who's like a disciple underneath the bean theory. The bean theory, yeah. The whole Moneyball type thing, and like it just doesn't work in the NFL, and it's showing like the idea of like getting as many picks as possible and like really stockpiling on that was the right idea, but the players that you drafted does not back up your theory at all. Like you don't draft Cody Kessler in the second round because he shows similar traits to that of like Drew Brees, you know? Like that's what they did. That's what they drafted. They drafted Cody Kessler in the second round because like, oh, he showed a lot of similar traits to Drew Brees. He's gonna end up like Drew Brees. Basically what your theory is, and that's more than asinine.
I mean, like you can't. Drew Brees is like he said. A lot of people say he's the leader of the Saints. You would think it's like a linebacker like Ray Lewis,
right?
Like Brian Dawkins, like this huge defensive guy.
Yeah,
and they say it's Drew Brees in the Saints, and like you can't
measure that level.
This is the second coming of Drew Brees.
Yeah,
Drew Brees is still in the league.
Right,
you're not going to get another Drew Brees that quickly.
Yeah, because like someone who's like that stature. I mean, who's went through that big of an injury earlier on in his career. I mean,
the Chargers gave him up.
Yeah,
because they didn't think he could.
They didn't think he would be able to come back. Yeah, and there was only 2 teams that thought he would, and that was the Saints and the Dolphins. And he went with Sean Payton and the Saints, and it turned out to be pretty good.
Yeah.
So I mean, and you know, and like you're not going to get a situation like that too often like that. Like that's the exception. It's not the rule. I mean, you're not going to get. Every time you see a quarterback that's 5'10", you're not going to get Drew Brees or Russell Wilson. Yeah. Like, it's just not going to happen. And I think too many times people are like, oh, let's give this a shot. Like they show similar traits to this player, and analytics will say that, oh, they're a lot of the same. Like coming out of a big time school, like Brees came out of Purdue, Russell Wilson came out of NC State and Wisconsin. Like coming out of big schools like that,
and like full Badgers.
Yeah. And it's just like, and it just doesn't work that way. It's like, oh yeah, Cody Kessler, you went to USC. That's a big time school. You played decently there. I mean, there you go. I mean, this is not going to work that way. And I can understand, like, getting as many players as possible is a good theory, but not if you're drafting the wrong players. Like, not if you continue to draft people that just don't fit any kind of scheme that you're going through or anything like that. Like, I mean, it's of course last year they drafted Myles Garrett, the Browns did, which makes sense. I mean, you can't miss on that. Yeah. But like when you also have a second round, like a second first round pick, and you have a quarterback like Deshaun Watson there, you should take him. And I don't understand why you don't take him, because
who'd they take?
Deshaun Kaiser.
They took him. He went before Watson.
Oh no. They traded down again, so they got 3 first round picks. So they had the first and they had the 9th pick, I want to say. And they traded that to the Texans and got the Texans first round pick.
The Texans got Watson.
Yeah, and the Texans got Watson, and then they got another. I don't know how they ended up getting 3 first round picks, but they did, because they drafted Myles Garrett, Jabril Peppers, and David Njoku, and like those are all good players. The thing is, I think what they did was they look at the athleticism of the players more than what the players actually did. Like, yeah,
that's part of it.
Like, you look at
that's definitely part of it.
Jabril Peppers. Like, Jabril Peppers was, I mean, he was a fine player coming out of Michigan. And I'm a big Michigan fan. But like, he never really did anything while he was there. Like, he did a lot of things that show he's versatile, but he didn't do a lot of things that show you that he's good at one position. So that's where his stretch, that's where the stretch came from, and that's why he initially got evaluated as an upper tier first round pick, like top 10 pick, and then people started realizing, oh, he's only recorded one interception in his entire 3-year career at University of Michigan. Yeah, one interception against Ohio State. The last game that he played, because he didn't play in the bowl game against Florida State that year. He never played in a single bowl game, by the way. He was there for 3 years and played in a single bowl game because he got injured for every single one of them.
Bowl game.
So yeah, I mean, and you know, I mean, Myles Garrett, like I said, that's a can't miss prospect right there. You look at David Njoku in the first round as well, too, a tight end from Miami. He was a good pick as well, but you also didn't have a quarterback to throw him the ball. And he was also, you're expecting him to come in and be your number one receiving option because you don't have anybody else. Because you drafted Corey Coleman, who doesn't fit that scheme at all. And he's coming from an offense in where he went to Baylor, where they just don't run any kind of scheme. Like, he just, if you watch what he
5 receivers,
just 5 receivers run deep, or just have what they also did a lot was they put him in like this little hitch routes where you just stand there and then you just go, and he just pick a hole and you pretty much go. So I mean, the off-the-ball offense is tough to come out of. Yeah. And so that didn't help. You're expecting this kid David Njoku to come and be your number one target because you don't have another wide receiver. But they have good pieces. Like, they have a solid offensive line, solid defensive front. Like, they have a good talent on the roster. They just don't have that one player that's gonna be like, okay, that's good, that's good. Like, they consistently hit on all the draft picks. Like, you look at the Saints, like I said, there's some analytics that come into football, but the Browns did what the Browns did was all analytics. Look what the Saints did this past year. Like, this draft class was insane. They got Marshawn Lattimore in the first round.
3 Rookie of the Year candidates, right?
Yes.
That's what they were saying during the game.
Yeah, no, they have, because the dude who missed the tackle on Stephon Diggs, I mean, poor guy, but he was a legitimate Marcus Williams from Utah. He was a second round draft pick. He was a legitimate shot to be rookie defensive player of the year. Marshawn Lattimore's probably going to get it because he's a stud and he's going to the Pro Bowl. I mean, you drafted Alvin Kamara in the 3rd round. I mean, it's insane. They also had 2 first round draft picks as well. So they got Ryan Ramczyk, who's the starting right tackle for him now in the 1st round and the 1st round as well. It was just a good draft. And like I said, analytics do play a part in it, but it's not dominant, which is what the Browns tried to do. And Sashi Brown just is terrible. So we get an 0-16 team.
They show some of these stats. I just saw a stat on Twitter before we started. Nelson Aguilar had the 2nd highest speed for a rushing touchdown out of the 4 divisional games. Yeah, and it's just okay.
Yeah, they do because they
blocking.
Because they do those next gen stats.
Yeah, and some of them are just does that matter in the long run?
It was funny. The one stat that I saw, there was the Cowboys game. The Cowboys played the Raiders, and that was a very controversial game. But the fastest player for the Cowboys, this will tell you how bad the Cowboys are speed wise. The fastest player for the Cowboys that game was a punter when he ran a fake punt. He ran over 20 miles per hour. You ran
20.35.
No, I was like,
Yeah.
damn, he can move.
Yeah.
I was stunned, but they like this next gen stats or whatever, just insane. It'll go over like how much like somebody traveled on like a long run or something like that. Like, oh, he traveled. Yeah, like Tariq Cohen traveled 163 yards on a 70-yard punt return. I'm like, okay, I didn't need to know all that because he's running backwards and like sideways, side to side, and finally went 70 yards for the touchdown. Like, it's ridiculous.
Sometimes, like during a game, like I don't mind it because it's like there's a lot of time between plays, so like what else
right.
do? But like I think when it comes down to like you said, the Browns building a team or like somebody trying to rebuild, you know, you can't use those stats. So when we see those stats so often, we think that's what managers and coaches are looking at when they're just looking at we're looking at the stats that have stayed throughout time. Like we're looking at passer. Like even QBRs kind of died when that was like a huge thing. Yeah. When ESPN was like, we made this new stat, and we're like, okay. And then for like a few years, they compared it, and now it's like, oh, we're back to passer rating now.
and they're starting to do something new too with they started doing like the PER rankings for the NBA, like the player efficiency ratings, where it kind of encompasses everything that a player will do, like the plus minus, there's points, assists.
Plus minus in basketball, so like in hockey it makes sense because it's so low scoring.
Yeah,
but basketball,
it's like LeBron James had one of his worst PER, like worst plus minuses. They played somebody, they got destroyed because they had no defense, which is what's gonna happen when you trade for a guy that's 5'9" and can't defend anybody in a league where everybody's tall, but you know. So I mean the PR. I mean, like, because that's a relatively new stat. Like then they started like going back and like, oh, Michael Jordan's best PR rating was this. LeBron had this. KD had this. Steph Curry might have the best PR rating of all time in a season. I could be wrong about that, but yeah.
I hate to say comparing new stats. The stats from the game, whatever game it is, 30 years ago. The game changes so much.
So much,
like,
especially
people, like compared to Babe Ruth. I'm like, one, nobody can beat Babe Ruth ever again.
Yeah.
Two, like it was a totally different game. He was just getting out of the dead ball era. That's why he hit so many home runs that he did. And any game is like that. All the games change so much in so like short of a time. You can't take QBR or PR from one day and say, oh, well, in the 70s it would have been this. Like, you can't do that. Like that's such an unfair way to compare players. And I get some people are like, well, we need to put them on a neutral scale to say that, like to compare efficiently. I'm like, well, you can't just ignore what the game is. Instead of look at stats. Like you can't take what you want to prove your point.
And like I said, they definitely do that, like a whole bunch of like new age stat type things, and especially they do it a lot. I've noticed in basketball, especially just because like I love Steph Curry's one of my favorite players, but they're like, oh, he had like this many, like he shot this many 3-pointers, and he's like the greatest 3-pointer of all, like 3-point shooter of all time. I'm like, the 3-point line wasn't introduced until late 70s. I think it was 1979, 1980 is when like it was the first season that the NBA did the 3-point line. And I'm just like, it's like, yeah, I get it, he's great, but even Ray Allen didn't shoot as many 3-pointers because that's what analytics have taken. Like analytics have taken over everything when it comes to that. Like they want to play faster, they want to get more possessions, so they don't go through the entire shot clock as much. They shoot more threes than they ever do before because not only is a big man's skill set more geared towards shooting threes now, but I mean it's just what they do. So 3 is more points than 2. So last time I checked, So like let's shoot more threes because if we shoot more threes, there's a chance we make more threes, which means that we have a better chance of winning the game, as opposed to like the old school style basketball where which is what Jahlil Okafor had a problem with. It was like he wasn't going to get any playing time because I mean you have all these dudes on the 76ers roster who are big and can shoot. I mean,
Embiid's 7 feet tall.
He's 7 feet tall, shooting threes,
like,
and he's
on a regular basis. Too.
Good.
And I think what's his name? Dirk Nowitzki kind of started that trend.
Yes, he definitely did.
Which is kind of
especially with the new age. I mean, because I mean, you're not looking at a lot of 7-footers that can shoot like that, and you're not. I mean, now they're all over the place. I mean, now you have Embiid, you have Karl Anthony Towns, you have, I mean, the kid who plays for the Bulls right now, Lauri Markkanen, has just hit 103 pointers. And he's a rookie. He hit 103 pointers, and he was the fastest to ever do it. Faster than Steph Curry, faster than Ray Allen, faster than everybody. I mean, and of course they judge the stats, and I said like this kid Lauri Markkanen did it in however many games, 41 games, and they're like, oh, and Michael Jordan did it in 382. Well, yeah, because we're shooting a lot of threes now. I mean, you look at most of if not all of Michael Jordan's like big time highlights, they're him doing crazy dunks or insane reverse layups and everything like that.
Switching hands halfway through.
It's just not the game anymore. I mean, and that's what makes it more interesting to watch. Because for a lot of people from the outside fans, it's like you don't want a dude that that can dunk for popularity, because it's like, all right, that's cool. Like, I definitely can't do that. But you want to relate to sports. Like, oh yeah, I could hit a three like that. I could hit a three in somebody's face. Like I could be 6'3" and shoot and make 400 3-pointers in a season. Like Steph Curry. Like Steph Curry dunked in a basketball game last night, and he said it was like a unicorn sighting. Because he's not used to dunking. He's the same size as me. I can't dunk. So it's just interesting to see that. I mean, and how everybody does it. Like all these long players, and that's what the game is now. Everybody wants to be long, crazy, athletic people and be able to shoot threes and dribble down the court and handle the ball. And that's what makes Ben Simmons such an anomaly, is because he's 6'10" and he's a point guard. He's lined up as a point guard. He's in NBA 2K as a point guard. You see, he was about ready to like Kyle Lowry wanted to fight him last night.
I didn't see the highlights, but I saw.
That was crazy because that was like the fourth most interesting thing that happened in the NBA last night.
I kept seeing the fight between
the Clippers and the Rockets, right?
Yeah, was that the one?
Yeah, where
the secret tunnels?
Yeah, the secret tunnels. They stormed into the locker room.
Yeah.
And they used the one dude as a Trojan horse, as a decoy to like knock on the front door while I was snuck in the back to beat up Doc Rivers' son, who wasn't even playing in the game, but they still wanted to beat him up anyway.
Yeah, and then Russell Westbrook been called for a travel when he got hit in the eye or something like that. Like, Rap, what are you doing? And then he got teed up. He got ejected because he got teed up for something, and then he argued, so he got teed up again, and he got ejected. I saw that on the herd too. Well, why are you calling him traveling when he got like that wasn't a flop?
Yeah,
he might have been dodged a little bit, as one does.
Yeah,
but he was in midair and got hit in the head with an elbow and fell to the ground, and you're calling him traveling? What?
And I think especially it's huge. Like the whole idea of analytics is huge in basketball. Like you look at literally every single thing that the Rockets are trying to do to beat the Warriors. It just screams all levels.
I mean, in basketball, it's it's Warriors.
Very one-sided. Yeah.
Maybe the Celtics make a push with.
Yeah, it might even be the Cavs this year. The Cavs are so bad this year.
But it's done this rant quite a few times. But it's going to be one of 4 teams.
Yeah.
So if you're one of those other 28 teams or 26 teams, however there are in the NBA, you're like, okay, we need to do literally everything we can.
Yeah.
To have a shot.
That's what I mean. I like people didn't like what the 76ers did, but like I respect it. Like you're not winning a championship. Why not lose? And you get the prospects, and they're gonna be young by the time, and they're gonna be young and in their prime still by the time like all these teams are like on their downswing. Because it's not. I mean, as much as like the Warriors are not being selfish and taking pay cuts so like other people like they can keep the roster together, that's not going to last forever. It's just simple as that. That's just not going to last forever. So I mean that team's going to break up at some point. It's just a matter of time. I mean somebody's going to leave. I think the first one that could leave would be Klay Thompson, maybe Kevin Durant, but
Kevin Durant might be. I don't know too much. I take my opinion with a grain of salt, but I feel like he might do a LeBron and do because he sounds like 1 and 2 year deals with the option, right? And I think he's doing it on purpose so he can leave when he wants to and not be there for 5 or 6 years.
And like I said,
something like that will happen.
Yeah, I mean,
it's kind of a smart move on his part and his agent's part. So I'm giving you 1, maybe 2 years, and then I'll do it again. Yeah, but
especially if you can get a lot of money in that 1 year too. Again, he took a pretty large pay cut, so they could re-sign a lot of those players. Like they could re-sign like Andre Iguodala and like JaVale McGee, David West.
I just love when the athletes take a pay cut, though. Like, you're
still making $22 million. Yeah.
$22 million, and you have the endorsements.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a pretty large Nike contract, Gatorade, all that stuff like that.
Everything. Yeah.
And now they can get even more because of the advertising that they do on the front of the uniforms now too. So the little patch, I got like that Roku 10. I think the Warriors do. Yeah. It's like some Chinese tech company.
What's his name? Keith Olbermann, who has his moments.
He's wild sometimes.
Yeah,
that's why they got rid of show on ESPN. He was too much.
Yeah, he got canceled multiple times.
Yeah.
ESPN. But he put on Twitter when they released the new uniforms, the Sixers ones, which I think are cool. Got that cream in the Declaration of Independence, like font.
Yeah.
And he was like, "These are cool and all, but I don't remember an advertisement on that Declaration of Independence." And I was like, "Well, it's not the actual Declaration. It's a basketball uniform. Like, you don't need to be that nitpicky."
And not all the teams have advertisers either. Like, they're
trying to get out.
Yeah, exactly. You make more money. That's what they do in EuroLeague soccer. It's like you can't even. It's like Barcelona and everything else is advertisements all over the jersey. Even MLS, because nobody knows the names of the teams to begin with anyway. So
well, New York's team is an advertisement.
Yeah, like the Red Bull or something like that.
The Red Bulls. Someone at Red Bull was like, "Wait a second,
how much are we getting for this?"
Yeah, hold on.
But yeah, like the Rockets. Especially with like Mark D'Antoni. Yeah, because there's like D'Antonio who coaches for Michigan State, and then Mark D'Antoni who coaches basketball. Okay, so yeah. So Mark D'Antoni is like, he pretty much started up what the Warriors do now. He just didn't have as much talent. He had when he had Steve Nash, he had a Steve Nash that wasn't the shooter that Steph Curry is. He was a good shooter and a good ball handler, but not the shooter that Steph Curry is. Definitely did not have a Draymond Green who could be as versatile. He had Amari Stoudemire on that team as well, and that was solid. That was back in the days. Yeah, Raja Bell and
when I actually knew him,
Leandro Barbosa as well. I think they had a young Goran Dragic too, a really young Goran Dragic, and he started that fast pace, a lot of possessions, not a lot of defense. And what the Warriors have done, they're like, oh yeah, we're just gonna add 2 more superstars, 2 more all-star level talented players, and we're gonna just do the crazy thing called play defense, and we're gonna win multiple championships and blow teams out of the water. Because that's what they're doing. Like if they would have, if the Suns would have been able to ever play defense, and if they would have had just another all-star on that team, they would have won multiple championships. But when you're going up against the Lakers when they were as strong as they were, Pistons were strong a little bit back then. Celtics were getting strong because that was when they had their original big 3 as well with Paul Pierce, Ray Allen, and KG.
Now every team is the big 3 because they have 3 good players.
Yeah, you can't win unless you have 3 good players. The only time that a team has won without 3 really good players has been the Dallas Mavericks. That's the only team that I can think of recent memory at least, is the Dallas Mavericks when they beat the Miami Heat.
Oh yeah, that was
Dirk Nowitzki and nobody else. A whole lot of grit.
Yeah.
I think they had Jason Kidd. I think that's all I remember. Ryan Cardinal, they called him the janitor because he just looked like the janitor.
Yeah, I think, the analytics, in football and baseball, it's proven, or not baseball, basketball, it's proven, football definitely proven it. You can't do it. Football, you just can't.
Yeah.
Basketball, there's some to it.
It's not dominant, but, it's,
but there's a little bit.
There's a little bit, and you can definitely tell that what they use it to help them win games. Like I said, Joe Lacob, who's the GM, or no, it's Bob Myers. Bob Myers is the GM for the Warriors, and he believes very strongly in analytics. Daryl Morey for the Rockets really believes in it as well, so that's why they went out and drafted. They got a whole bunch of 3-point shooters. It's all 3-point shooters. Except, for me personally, I don't think James Harden is that great of a 3-point shooter.
I think James Harden is one of the most overrated players.
I would agree. I can't stand it. I can't stand it because he scores all these points. I'm like, about that.
He needs to because he lets people score on him.
Yeah, exactly. It's not only that, but
I know his defense is bad.
It's not only that, but he doesn't really shoot. Like his whole game is just drawing fouls so he can get to the line. So it's all and ones. It's all he's the master. He does so well at it like causing a foul at the 3-point line. And this it's like with the hand checking and things like that. Like he could just graze your hand. He grazed his hand and there's a whistle and a free throw. So I think he's very underrated. He's terrible on defense. I mean, he got a lot of triple doubles last year and they won, but it's because that's what the whole offense is. Like that's Mark D'Antoni's scheme. It's like, all right, who's the best player? You, James Harden? All right, you're going to get a lot of points. You're going to touch the ball every single time. Get a lot of points, a lot of rebounds, a lot of assists. And that's the thing too with Russell Westbrook getting all those triple doubles last year. That was a scheme. He's by far the best player that you have on the team. So you need him to do everything. Like if you watch, there's a lot of times in a lot of games where the players would let him get the rebound because on defense, get the defensive rebound because not only would he's a point guard and he's like crazy explosive, so he would push the ball up the court really fast, get an assist or just get a transition dunk or shot or something like that. So that's what's different. I mean, it makes sense. It's just like, yeah, of course they're gonna have all these triple doubles. They're gonna raise all these stats because there's nobody else on the team that's gonna get these stats. He's gonna get a triple double with 50 points because who else is gonna score? Victor Oladipo? Yeah, right. I mean, it's just not gonna work. So I mean, it makes sense, but.
Well, I think that's why analytics works so well in baseball because it's not such a player-heavy sport.
Right.
Like in football, if you don't have a quarterback, no matter who your team is, you're not going to do well.
Yeah.
In baseball, you can survive with like one good starting pitcher, and the four are like okay if you play it right. Except it didn't work that 1 year with the Rockies. They went with like a 4-man rotation, and all of them could only pitch 75 pitches or something. So as soon as you got to 75, you finished out at bat, and they took you out, no matter how well you were playing, because they thought it would make more sense for them to utilize their bullpen. And you can't really do that in any other sport, right? You can't pull something like baseball is such a unique sport that way.
Yeah,
but I mean, like I think analytics are kind of working their way towards hockey too, because like the Flyers coach is like that. Like that's why he got hired, and they were like because he was looking at analytics and brought it up, and they're like, oh, it could be something. Yeah, they're not playing.
But how is analytics working in hockey? Like, is it what they do? Like, just more shots on goal means you get a better chance of scoring.
Yeah, I think from what Ryan was telling me one time, it was shots and where the shots were. Mm-hmm. They were looking at where shots were. Okay. Yeah, that's the thing. Hockey is such a you just go and play.
Right.
Like there's obviously more to it than that, but
but I mean,
set up like zones and stuff. But
and it's such I think it's such a by chance sport too. I mean, because like anything can happen at any time in that game.
Like one bounce.
Yeah,
Remember the Stanley Cup Finals in 2011? It was the Bruins and the Canucks, and it careened off like what was keeping the glass in place. I don't know if you remember.
Nah, I don't remember.
It was I want to say it was the Canucks, and it was they did like a dump and chase. So they just flicked it into the other zone, right? And the guy tried to get it around the goal, so he hit it along the wall, trying to wrap it behind the net. But it hit the pole that keeps the glass together, and it careened out, and the defenseman was like, oh, and just slapped it in. And nobody knew what had happened. Because, like, even the goalie and the players, like, were all focused on where the puck should have been.
Right.
Because that's the way the wall goes. And then you see one guy celebrating, and you're like, wait, what? Like, the cameraman didn't know what to do. He just focused on the goal and all this. And you're like, and then they showed the replay that it just hit the right way. And but yeah, that was an unbelievably rare chance. But in hockey, it's just because I think you look at plus minus, they shorten the shifts. I've heard shifts back when like Gretzky played were like a minute and a half to 2 minutes. And now it's like if you push a minute, then you're getting tired.
Yeah. Because you want to keep them fresh for the entire game, especially like towards the end. Especially if you might need to go to like an overtime period as well.
Yeah, or if you go on a power play. Yeah. And you want those guys, you don't want them out and then have to go back on right away. So they're shortening that, and I don't know if they're doing like speed or anything like that. All the the next gen stuff, but
I mean they could. Those dudes move.
Yeah, they could, but like it's such a small area. Like, right. How fast can you get before you shoot it? Like.
Before you end up as the one kid in the Mighty Ducks 2 who just couldn't stop.
I mean, they do it during the All-Star game. I like the All-Star festivities for the NHL. They get, like, the goalie races. And, They race around there and stuff.
So I've never gotten the chance to watch it, but I like it. It always looks super exciting whenever I end up seeing, like, the actual highlights of it. And it's always good. I mean, I think the, like basketball, like, their mini games, they're, like, different, like, games and stuff like that have become worse. Like,
I used to look forward to basketball skills.
Yeah.
The past couple years, I'm just like,
They do too much to it.
Like, the 3-point challenge is a classic.
Yeah, exactly.
But, like, besides that...
The skills challenge is I kind of like what they did with that, where they get, like, the big men who are in there now. Like, the big men have won it the last 2 years now.
The 3-point one?
No, the skills challenge, where, like, because of the...
they have to, like, pass it through a tire.
Yeah. Like, the skills challenge used to be just for the point guards. But, like I said, because everybody, like, all the big men are, like, crazy athletic and you can dribble and shoot and everything like that, that's what they do now. Like, I'm pretty sure Kristaps won it last year.
Probably.
And somebody else won it the year before. Another big man won it the year before. Since they've been doing it, the big men have won. So, and that's pretty interesting. Like, the 3-point competition with how many people, like, how many shooters are on now, like, it's pretty interesting. And then the dunk competition, I don't know. It's like, cause like, there's not much else you can do. So now it's just like gimmicky and it's like,
that's another thing I wasn't a fan of either. Cause like, I'm not a fan of dunking and I shouldn't say I'm not a fan of dunking. I'm not a fan of how popular dunking came to be, because I'm like, well, if I'm 6'6", I can dunk too.
Yeah.
Like I can hit 3/4 up the net.
Yeah.
At my current shape and athleticness. like if I was a trained basketball player, I feel like everybody in the NBA should be able to dunk for the most part. Someone like 5'6", but even those guys don't. So it's like, what's stopping you? Like, I feel like when it was like number 1 or number 2 on the top 10, I'm like, so we dunked, like, and then the dunk contest too. It's like, all right, like, what more can you do? You hit it off the rim, you hit it off the backboard, you hit it off from behind, you know, like.
The guy tried to use a drone last year.
I saw that.
Aaron Gordon.
But you use a drone, but then. What's the difference between a drone and a guy bouncing it to you? Like, at the end of the day,
it's just a drone. It's just cooler because it's technology, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, like, I mean,
it
like,
bounces and you don't get no matter what.
It's like the dunks used to be like the dunk competition used to be good back when like Jordan and like human highlight reel Dominique Wilkins used to be in there.
Vince
Carter.
That might be the best one of all time.
Yeah, he was really good. He's 40+ years old and still dunking.
I saw on SportsSqwad the other day. It's like Vince Carter goes in, and I was like, what?
Yep.
Yep. He's still playing.
Yep.
He won the dunk contest like 17 years
ago.
Yeah. Like,
well, yeah, I mean, it's and that's not as fun. I just watched the NBA All-Star game because I just really want to see them score 200 points.
That last year came close, right? Wasn't it like 196 or something?
That was a year before, actually.
That was a year before. Last
year they just like because nobody plays defense because we're talking about players scoring 200 points in a game where it's like the same time regulation wise and everything like that. And because all they do is just like shoot threes and like dunk. Yeah, right. It's really all that it is.
Teammates to do something crazy.
Yeah, because if you're in a world where Andre Drummond and Dwight Howard are shooting threes, and that's not a world that you need to be in.
Dwight Howard.
And then even the NFL is trying to get back to
the
skills competition. Yeah, they started last year. They had like the accuracy challenge with the quarterbacks. They had like a dodgeball game and like.
I remember one year it was David Akers versus Vinatieri, like 04 or 05.
Yeah.
Like when those two were like the Justin Tuckers of the kicking
world,
right? Even though Adam Vinatieri's still playing. Yeah. But they were doing crazy. They were having a kicking competition. They were playing horse, I think it was.
Yeah.
And one was like, okay, from the 30-yard line, I'm gonna punt it backwards 30 uprights. And I was like, what? And one day, like, kicked it out of the stadium through palm trees or something. Like they found. I don't know if it was the stadium, but I think it was like a wall outside or something. Because it was down.
So they used to do fun stuff like that. Like back when I remember when I was young, they used to do like a 40-man, like the world's fastest, and they used to do like competition, like a 40-yard dash or something like that. Like Michael Vick used to do it all the time and things like that. Like, yeah, back when he was young too. Like this is like Atlanta Falcons Michael Vick. They used to do like a world's strongest man too, so like it'd be like all the big ass offensive linemen would just like do like.
I remember seeing
like Larry Allen for the Cowboys used to win every single year because he was insane. He was just ungodly strong. Right? Yeah,
it was like a more relaxed like combine. Man.
Right? Yeah, exactly. It was exactly what it was. Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, like analytics. Like I said, I don't think it'll ever reach the point of baseball in any other sport.
I don't think so either. Like I said, you'll get it in other sports, but you won't see teams that are solely driven on all analytics and nothing but analytics.
Yeah, because like you can't put, like I was saying with the quarterback and probably a defensive like star too.
Yeah.
Like, I think you need one on each side who are really good. And you can't just throw a ragtag, a bunch of people in, but you can say, oh, this safety hasn't allowed a touchdown all year.
Right.
And this linebacker hasn't, like, allowed more
Doesn't allow a lot of missed tackles.
Yeah. And you can't just say, all right, well, they're not good, but if you put them together and the stats say they would do good.
Right.
In baseball, you could hypothetically do that. I don't know if you would win a World Series unless you're the Oakland Red Sox, who cheated basically, not like in the game, but they read Billy Bean's book.
Right.
Why would you release that book?
Yeah, right.
Like, but they did it. I know before Red Sox, they're like, oh, that's how you did it.
Yeah.
And they won. They broke an 86-year-old curse. But you can just throw. But even though before Red Sox had, David Ortiz and Dave Roberts, who was a good base runner,
Manny Ramirez.
Yeah, and even they had good players.
Yeah,
like, you can't just not.
You can't just not have like talent. Like,
you also need that.
You also need like a star. Like, it's okay if like you want to do like small ball and things like that, and like want to win with like players like an affordable rate, but like it's not easy. You're gonna need.
You need like a homegrown. Like even the 08 Rays who lost it like in 5 games. Like they had David Price was their star pitcher.
Yeah,
and he was.
Wasn't it Longoria still with them too?
Yeah, Longoria was on that team, and Joe Madden was coach.
Yeah,
I mean it was before he was Joe Madden.
Yeah, right.
Still like.
So what really made him Joe Madden?
That year when they brought an expansion team. Like in football, I can't imagine trying to do that. That's why the Browns went 0-16.
Yeah,
Hugh Jackson's. I saw a thing on Reddit. It was Hugh Jackson's 2-15 or 2-31,
something like that.
Or 1-31, 1-31 over 2 years.
Yeah,
and Mike Mularkey brought the team to the playoffs and lost. And so it was like, well, Hugh Jackson's undefeated in the playoffs. Mike Mularkey lost. Where's your point?
It's like my argument of like Bortles is undefeated in the playoffs. Tom Brady has 9 losses.
I was gonna say Nick Foles, but then I was like, crap, he lost in 2014.
He lost to the Saints, right?
Yeah. Case Keenum. You see that? I think this will be. We're at 46 minutes. The craziness that led to Nick Foles versus Case Keenum. Like, that storyline is insane. Like,
you think Jeff Fisher's going to take credit for both of them, too?
I hope not, because then they're going to lose.
That's what happened with the Rams.
Yeah.
Tried to take credit for them, and they lost.
Yeah.
But you get when a loser tries to take credit for a winner.
Yeah. Well, the first thing before I forget is, it's like Case Keenum's number 7, Nick Foles is 9. People 16, who's Jared Goff.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
And then another one, just that whole, like, everything that happened for this to happen. Like, Nick Foles being traded to get Sam Bradford, who then gets traded. So Carson Wentz steps up. Then they both get injured.
Yeah.
Case Keenum steps up, and then they bring back Nick Foles, and now they're playing each other. Like,
there's a little secret right here. Stephon Diggs, the guy who like caught the game-winning touchdown for the Vikings. Yeah. He's from Maryland. Like, he's from I think PG County, if I'm not mistaken. He went to Good Counsel, and he went to University of Maryland. My friend Lauren, she used to know him at University of Maryland, and he used to have a cell phone. He had 2 different cell phones because he had one black iPhone and one white iPhone. The white iPhone was for all the white females he was talking to, and the black one was for all the black women he was talking to. That's hysterical. The entire time he's like running down the field, winning the game, and throwing his helmet to Titanic music. And I'm thinking, he's got 2 different cell phones for different ethnicities of women. And I thought that was hysterical.
That's all I can think. You're like, oh my god, wait a second. Trying to acknowledge what just happened in the game. You're like, wait, he has 2 iPhones. Like, he probably bought a family plan. Yeah. Nobody else is on the plan.
I was like, that is not a good look for a quote unquote struggling athlete in college.
Right. Again, that play was ridiculous.
That was insane. I still can't believe it. Like I said, all he has to do is stick his arms out. Yeah. That's all he has to do. Just stick them out.
There's a way for him to land. What my favorite tweet was, Seth Smith's family barbecue.
Of course.
Yeah, of course. As it is most of the time. They're like, oh, when you're playing Madden and you go for the hit stick and you miss.
Me every single time.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Oh, crap. Especially playing with, like, the good defenses. Like, I remember, like, Madden, was it 06? And you had like Brian Dawkins on the Eagles.
Yeah.
Of course you're going for a hit stick with Brian Dawkins. Like
Lito Shepherd. Was Asante Samuel on that team too, or is he still with the Patriots?
No, he was only on the Eagles for what, 2 years?
Yeah, he came around later.
He was on the Dream Team.
The quote unquote Dream Team.
And then the next year he basically quit. They like interviewed him on the local radio. And he was like, well, I go in and practice and I get my check every 2 weeks and that's about it. And I was like, all right.
Is that when they spent all that money on Nnamdi Asomugha?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was Asomugha and Vince Young.
Right.
And Colin Jenkins and Jason Babin. Oh, yeah, Babin. Like, nobody on that team is an Eagle anymore.
You think, are they even in the league anymore?
Jason Babin's down in... Is he still in Jacksonville?
I don't think so. I haven't seen him on Jacksonville.
He was on Jacksonville last year. I don't know if he came back, though. Colin Jenkins is still in the league. I remember him being called this year. I don't know if he's doing anything, though. Well, that kind of proves a point on the other end, too. You also can't put a bunch of superstars together and expect to win. Like
That's former.
Well, that defense was stacked.
Yeah, it was.
So, like, if you look at just the names, you're like, how did they go 8-8? Like,
because that was back when they had Trent Cole there, too.
Oh, Trent Cole. I miss the Eagles defense. Not that defense. I don't miss that defense. I miss the homegrown defense. I miss the Jeremiah Trotters of the world.
Oh my God, the Jeremiah Trotters. That's a good name.
Jeremiah Trotter, Brian Dawkins, Lito Shepherd.
Yeah, Lito Shepherd.
Yeah, I thought there was another corner.
I thought there was too.
Yeah, that defense. That's what I'm the Super Bowl, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Wasn't Donovan McNabb.
they were saying even T.O. played well.
Yeah.
Like, he had a great game in the Super Bowl.
Oh, he had a phenomenal game in that
And
Super Bowl.
like, no way to be remembered.
There's no way that he should be able to play in that game with that injury.
Yeah, he was out for...
He was out for most of the
I
season.
remember.
Because because of that injury. That's the reason why there's like an elite. It's a 15-yard penalty for a horse guard talk.
That was him?
Yeah,
Oh, I thought that
was him against Roy Williams for the Cowboys.
I remember the Cowboys were involved.
Yep.
Yeah.
Roy Williams for the Cowboys and Terrell Owens. Yep.
Yeah, I remember during the NFC Championship game that year we were watching, and he's like standing on the bench, like getting the crowd like going, like he's in the streets. But he's on the bench going, and my mom, who criticizes everyone, she just goes, "You don't look that injured, like dancing on the bench." I was like, "Well, he's healing up." It's been a while.
He was like in a hyperbolic chamber, like he was Goku or some shit. Like,
yeah, I was like, I'm sure I could probably walk on a,
like people
after that long.
Because like not a lot of people know that you can still walk like after a torn ACL. Like
Carson Wentz threw a touchdown with a torn ACL. Like
what's his Drew Stanton played 2 weeks with a torn ACL. Like,
yeah, like
I don't know how I still have no idea how he did that.
Yeah,
that's insane to me.
Yeah. I don't know. Did he tear it during like that first game and was it undiagnosed or something?
I don't know. It might have been. They might have. I have no idea. I have no idea.
After watching Carson Wentz's leg, in that one video,
it's just like
play it's going side to side. But yeah. Anyway, all right. I think that's it.
Crazy injuries.
Yeah, got that nice extra 13-minute outro. Yeah. So that was analytics. Do your thing, Squad Nation. Comment, whatever. If our editor's getting checked. Yeah. So if analytics work, can they work in other sports? What do you think of them in general? What do you think of the All-Star game and twin ACLs? And yeah, that's about it. Alright, so it's been me and Kelvin. And Squad out.